Right, now let's explore the developments on Eskom's announcement of the start of load shedding tomorrow. We're joined by energy expert Ruse Moleshe. Ruse, I appreciate your time and happy 2024.
Thank you, Hugo. Happy 2024 to you too.
So let's start with the bad news, and that's load shedding is back starting tomorrow. Why?
Load shedding is back because it's not something that is going to go away permanently anytime soon, because the Eskom system is fragile, and there are many reasons. Part of that reason is the fact that some of the generating units were off. What Eskom has done, what typically happens in summer, you tend to, when the factories are closed and mining companies are closed, you tend to have less demand. But what they have done is they have taken advantage of that and increased their maintenance to almost 8,000 megawatts. So when something goes wrong in the system, which remains fragile, it can affect then the load shedding.
So there is news that Kusile is back online, or Kusile's Unit 5 is back online, sort of intermittently over the next 6 months. Is this good news for us?
It is good news in the long run, in the sense that we'll have additional capacity in the network that will help us mitigate, to an extent, load shedding that we are seeing today.
So there's something called synchronization of Kusile's Unit 5 to the national grid. What is that synchronization process, and how does it all work?
So it's the connection of the unit back online into the network. However, there are various tests that they continue to do to make sure that the system is stable. So we will have additional capacity that will be as a result of connecting the unit, which is about 800 megawatts.
And how significant is 800 megawatts in the greater scheme of things? Does that impact the various stages of load shedding at all?
It is significant. It's almost, it's almost about one stage of load shedding. It's just below one stage of load shedding.
So I'd like to focus a little bit on the success, if you will, of Eskom over the last maybe 6 to 8 months that the electricity minister has taken over. We've certainly seen a lot of him on television, but I think with his presence has also been an improvement in electricity supply across the country. How much of an impact has he made? And secondly, the appointment of a substantive chief executive officer who takes office, I think, in the next 2 months. How much of an impact will that have on Eskom?
So there's been gradual improvement in the performance of Eskom, to an extent that they have significant capacity to be able to do maintenance, to will bode well for the system in the long run. Also, it's a good thing that we have now stability within the leadership of Eskom, including the board, having a well-constituted board, as well as you mentioned, the CEO that is currently there, that will be able to take long-term decisions that Eskom needs to take without fearing being on the job for a short time.
So when we talk about the improvements that we've seen over the last few months, how have those come about? What are the steps that Eskom has taken, or the electricity minister for that matter, to improve the provision of electricity? And is it sustainable?
So what has been improved to an extent is the unplanned maintenance, the unplanned outages, meaning plants just breaking down. Yes, that still continues to happen, but the extent to which it happened has improved. What has also improved is that Eskom is taking action to make sure that they do maintenance. And they've increased significantly the number of units that they are out for maintenance. They've brought back as well some of the units from the Kusile coal-fired power plant, which at some stage had almost 0 units functioning. At some stage had 1. We now have a significant number of those back on stream. In terms of sustainability, that still needs to be seen. We still need to additional capacity in the system to have a significant reserve margin to be able to say the days of load shedding are behind us. So we are by no means and no longer going to see load shedding, but we'll see a significant improvement from the units that are coming back on stream.
So outside of mainstream generation by Eskom itself, we've got the IPPs that have been in the picture. There's talk of renewable energy. How much of a contribution is this making to the amount of energy that's available on the grid? Are we likely to see an increase in 2024 and beyond?
I mean, we have been seeing a significant increase of projects that are being registered with the regulator that are renewable energy projects. These projects will still go through, obviously, construction phases, in fact, financial close first, and then a construction phase, and then they will come back on stream. We could be seeing more. However, we are having a problem with the network in terms of connecting these projects. So the most important thing that South Africa needs to focus on to be able to bring in additional capacity is to ensure that the network is available for when those projects are on stream. They have a contribution that they make. However, we still have a significant capacity that comes from Eskom fleet that is mostly responsible for most of our generation.
Jose, before the year ended, I think it was the Supreme Court of Appeal, if I'm not mistaken, was certainly one of the courts that insisted that by January 31st, that Eskom, in fact, the electricity minister in Eskom, need to have put certain measures in place to ensure that establishments such as hospitals, schools, and I think police stations are not impacted by load shedding. Are you aware of what steps are being taken to ensure this happens? And is it practical for it to be implemented as early as the end of this month?
No, it's not practical for it to be implemented as early as end of this month, because most of these facilities are within communities. So if there's load shedding that takes place, you can't really isolate them. There are exceptions, of course, where some of the hospitals have got backup generators that during load shedding will be able to come in and mitigate that. But if you look at schools, police stations, and how much they are embedded within communities, to be able to isolate them and separate them, it will be a big task. And also that will be an ask in terms of procurement of those will take a long time. So I think that probably the minister will, I don't know what they will do. They said they won't appeal, or maybe they may appeal, but they will need time to be able to implement in some instances where it will be feasible, but in many instances it will not be feasible. The real solution is in solving load shedding, period.
Ruse Moleshe, I appreciate your time. Energy expert speaking to us on Eskom's return to load shedding starting at 5 a.m. tomorrow.